Hear the sounds, feel the atmosphere, experience the gratitude. The subconscious mind accepts what it feels as real. When faith and emotion unite, the universe obeys. You may ask, how long must I hold this desire? Until it holds you. When your purpose becomes so definite that you cannot escape it even in rest, then you are near the threshold of transformation. Every great man has known this possession by purpose, when the dream takes control of the dreamer. That is when genius awakens. Carnegie once told me that his fortune was inevitable the moment he stopped thinking of money as his goal and began to think of service as his duty. His desire was not for gold, but for efficiency. Because his desire served the law of progress, it was blessed by abundance. Let your desire, too, serve something larger than yourself, and the law will reward you beyond measure. If your motive is pure, if your burning desire lifts others as it lifts you, then your comeback will not only be swift, but sustained. For selfish desire fades with satisfaction, but purpose-driven desire renews itself with every achievement. Do not be discouraged by slow results. The universe does not move by haste, it moves by order. Each day that you persist, unseen forces are arranging conditions for your success. The roots grow before the bloom appears. The farmer who plants does not dig the soil each day to check the seed. He waters and waits, knowing the law cannot fail him. You too must plant your desire, water it with faith, and protect it with persistence. You need not see results at once. You need only know they are certain. Faith is the assurance of rhythm, the confidence that what you have sown must, by law, yield according to its kind. The man of burning desire cannot remain unknown. His energy creates light that others cannot ignore. People are drawn to him, opportunities appear around him, and the impossible begins to yield. They will say of you, something about him has changed. They will not see the inner fire, but they will feel its warmth. The timid will admire your certainty. The doubtful will borrow your strength. Without saying a word, you will become a source of confidence to others. Your faith will spread silently, and you will find that life itself seems to lean in your direction. This is the hidden reward of burning desire. It magnetizes the world around you. If you have lost your ambition, reignite it now. Sit in silence, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what do I want so deeply that failure can no longer frighten me? Wait for the answer. It will not come as noise, but as knowing. That quiet certainty, that idea that returns again and again, is your destiny calling you to act. Nurture that idea as you would a sacred flame. Each day feed it with thought, protect it with discipline, and express gratitude for it as though it were already yours. Desire backed by faith never dies. It only waits for command. Repeat this daily. I live with purpose. My desire is definite. My thoughts are clear. I move toward my goal with faith. Let this become the rhythm of your existence. The repetition will engrave certainty into your mind until doubt itself becomes impossible. You may think you are preparing for your comeback, but in truth it has already begun. The instant your desire became definite, the universe began its motion toward your fulfillment. Every circumstance since that moment is part of the arrangement. Nothing is wasted, nothing is out of place. Remember always, the world yields not to talent alone, but to persistence guided by burning desire. The one who desires strongly enough will find a way, while those who lack it will find excuses. The difference between failure and success is not opportunity. It is intensity of purpose. Desire is the soul of all progress. It transforms the ordinary man into a leader, the worker into an inventor, the student into a master. When you live by it, you will rise beyond fatigue, discouragement, and rejection, because your purpose will outlast them all. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Begin where you stand, with what you have, and build as you go. The first step taken in faith ignites all others. The flame of desire does not need ideal surroundings. It creates them. And when you have kindled this fire within, remember this truth. Desire without persistence is a flame without fuel. Now that your mind and your desire are united, the next step is to sustain this fire through discipline and rhythm until nothing can extinguish it. For the world does not reward beginnings, it rewards endurance. And so we move forward into the next great law, the discipline of endurance. There comes a time, even for the man of burning desire, when the flame flickers, when the results do not appear, when fatigue whispers, when faith feels distant, and the mind wonders if the law has forgotten him. It is in this silent space between planting and harvest that destiny performs its greatest test. For desire ignites the beginning, but only endurance completes the journey. Discipline is the invisible bridge between intention and reality. It is not a word of restraint, but of liberation. The man who governs his habits governs his future. Every empire ever built, every invention ever born, every triumph ever achieved was the offspring of discipline held through uncertainty. You must learn to walk steadily when others run frantically. You must continue to sow while others despair that the soil is barren. The law rewards the man who keeps rhythm when the world around him breaks tempo. For persistence is faith in motion. It is obedience to purpose when emotion has gone silent. Edison understood this law. There were nights when he failed 100 times before sunrise, yet he continued, not through excitement, but through rhythm. His endurance was not dramatic, it was patient. He knew that nature never violates law, and that every experiment, however fruitless, carried him closer to discovery. His was the peace of the disciplined mind, the quiet certainty that repetition is the secret of mastery. When Abraham Lincoln faced ridicule, defeat, and the death of those he loved, he did not withdraw from life. He worked quietly, shaping himself through the very hardships that others pitied. His greatness was not born of speeches, but of self-control. When anger came, he wrote letters he never sent. When despair came, he read them and learned. Discipline made him steady enough to lead a nation torn by its own chaos. Andrew Carnegie spent 10 years organizing steel production before the first great fortune appeared. He called patience the test of faith. He once said that a man who cannot work without applause will never build anything worth applauding. He meant that endurance must become its own reward. The man who can keep to his rhythm without needing praise is the man the world eventually follows. And now I say this to you: endurance is not stubbornness. It is faith under pressure. It is order obeyed without wavering. It is the rhythm of purpose maintained through seasons of doubt. You will know you have found discipline when you act not by mood, but by decision, not by convenience, but by law. When fatigue sets in, the undisciplined man seeks escape. The disciplined man seeks structure. Fatigue is not a sign to quit. It is a call to organize energy. The body tires when thought is scattered, but the man who directs every motion toward his purpose finds strength even in exhaustion. Discipline aligns energy with aim. Each day's small obedience adds invisible weight to your strength. The one who reads 10 pages, thinks 10 minutes, plans 1 hour, and finishes what he begins. These small acts accumulate like bricks in the temple of success. No single act may seem great, yet together they form an unbreakable habit. Habit is destiny solidified. When doubt speaks, let decision answer. When fear rises, let routine command. For the one who has a definite schedule is never lost. A disciplined hour is stronger than an undisciplined week. Choose 1 hour each day that belongs to your comeback. Guard it as a sacred appointment with destiny. During that hour, shut out distraction. Write your goals, plan your day, study your principles. Speak your affirmations aloud as a soldier recites his oath. Let this be your hour of discipline. Even if you achieve nothing else, this one habit will carry you through storms. The man who owns one consistent hour eventually owns his life. Say to yourself, I will persist until I prevail. I will obey my purpose until life obeys me. Say it when you feel strong. Say it when you feel weak. Words repeated in weakness grow roots that hold you when strength returns. Discipline is not about what you do when inspired. It is what you continue when inspiration sleeps. When delay stretches long, remind yourself that the seed does not complain in the soil. It trusts the process of unseen growth. You are that seed. Every day you persist, roots are forming. They grow quietly, invisibly, until one day they burst forth with unstoppable force. The impatient dig up their seed and wonder why it does not bloom. The disciplined water and wait. I have seen men lose everything but their persistence, and from that persistence rebuild fortunes greater than before. I have seen others lose nothing but patience, and from that loss never recover. The difference between despair and triumph is simply who stays long enough for the law to work. The rhythm of discipline transforms the man himself. His walk steadies, his tone deepens, his eyes grow calm. Others sense reliability and are drawn to it. They trust the man who finishes what he begins, for he proves mastery not in speech but in steadiness. Discipline is silent authority. It speaks without words. You will begin to notice that the world adjusts to your rhythm. Where once you were tossed by circumstance, now you move as the tide moves, predictable, powerful, relentless. The disciplined man becomes the center of order in any environment. Chaos exists around him, but never within him. When adversity returns, and it will, meet it as an old friend. Thank it for testing your endurance. Tell it that you have learned its lessons. No longer will hardship surprise you. It will merely remind you to tighten your rhythm. The storm cannot unseat the one who has learned to move with it. Let no one persuade you that persistence is outdated. The tools may change, the world may move faster, but the law remains. Success still belongs to those who finish. The one who persists quietly will outlast the one who rushes loudly. The mountain yields not to noise, but to continuous effort. Discipline is devotion. It is faith made visible through habit. It is prayer expressed through repetition. Each morning you rise at the same hour, read the same principles, speak the same affirmations, and perform the same tasks, not because they are new, but because they are true. That is how the subconscious learns obedience. That is how success becomes certainty. Do not seek motivation, seek rhythm. Motivation fades when the day grows hard, but rhythm continues regardless of weather. When a man lives by rhythm, his progress becomes inevitable. Each repetition becomes momentum, and momentum becomes mastery. The universe itself is rhythmic. The planets move in order. The seasons arrive in sequence. Even your breath follows rhythm. Inhalation, exhalation, pause, renewal. To live in discipline is to live in harmony with the same law that governs all creation. That harmony is power. When you master this rhythm, fatigue becomes familiar but harmless. You will learn to rest without quitting, to pause without stopping. You will work when others complain, think when others despair, act when others delay. Each act of endurance brings you closer to peace, because peace is not the absence of action, but the mastery of it. Persistence also refines the spirit. It purifies motive. In the beginning, you may act for reward, but through discipline, you learn to act for principle. When you no longer require applause, your power multiplies tenfold. The one who endures without needing recognition becomes unstoppable, for he draws strength not from circumstance, but from within. Carnegie once said, "I would rather have the habit of persistence than a fortune, for a fortune without persistence soon disappears." He knew that the disciplined man will always rebuild. Fortune may fluctuate, but habit remains, and habit recreates fortune. You will find, as discipline becomes natural, that fear disappears. Fear thrives in uncertainty, but the man of rhythm fears nothing, because he controls the hours that others waste. He knows that each task completed, each decision made, is another step toward dominion. Discipline gives the mind no room for fear. If the path feels long, remember this: a year of persistence can accomplish what 10 years of indecision cannot. Most men spend decades circling opportunity because they never finish what they start. But the one who persists saves time, saves energy, saves life itself. In your quiet hour, when no one sees you, when no applause is offered, remind yourself, this is where greatness is forged. Public victory is born in private discipline. The world celebrates the result, but seldom sees the repetition. You will, therefore, learn to celebrate repetition itself. Say quietly, I honor the small act done well. I value the unseen effort. I persist because I have decided to win. Let that become your meditation when weariness appears. When the mind rebels, remind it gently who is master. You may whisper aloud, you are my servant, not my ruler. The body will soon follow, the senses will obey. For man was never meant to be driven by appetite or emotion, but by decision. Discipline restores rightful order to the kingdom within. And when others doubt you, remain silent. Discipline does not argue, it proves. The day will come when those who questioned your endurance will ask for your guidance. For the man who finishes his course becomes the teacher of all who falter. Let endurance become your signature. Let steadiness become your character. When adversity strikes again, as it surely will, meet it with the quiet smile of one who has seen this battle before and knows its outcome. For discipline guarantees victory in time. Each act of endurance refines not only achievement, but identity. You will look in the mirror one morning and realize that you no longer recognize the man you once were. Where there was hesitation, there is decisiveness. Where there was doubt, there is calm. Where there was fatigue, there is quiet strength. Others will see it too. They will feel safety in your presence, confidence in your word. You will become the man whose composure steadies a room, whose patience commands respect, whose reliability inspires trust. This is the unspoken power of discipline. It makes a man magnetic. As you persist, you will come to understand that discipline is not merely for survival, it is for peace. To be disciplined is to be free from inner conflict. The undisciplined man is torn between impulse and intention. The disciplined man is whole. His thought, word, and action move as one. Continue until persistence becomes your second nature. Continue until obedience to purpose becomes as effortless as breathing. Continue until your routine becomes ritual and your effort becomes ease. That is mastery. And now, as your endurance matures into certainty, a new realization will dawn, that your inner order has begun to command your outer world. Circumstance no longer dictates your condition, you dictate to circumstance. The next stage of your journey awaits, for once a man has mastered himself, he becomes the master of his environment. You have proven strength. You have learned rhythm. You have built faith into habit and habit into character. You are ready for dominion, not over others, but over the forces that once controlled you. And so we move forward to the next great revelation, the mastery of circumstance. For the man who has conquered himself can now command his world. There comes a moment when the inner battle has been won, when the storm within has been silenced, and the man stands upright, no longer fighting himself, but directing the world around him through calm authority. This is the point of dominion. The victory of the mind over itself is only the beginning. From it arises the power to master circumstance, to bend external conditions to the rhythm of one's organized will. Circumstance is not a jailer, but a mirror. It does not imprison you. It reflects your inner order or confusion. When a man is ruled by fear, his environment becomes threatening. When he is ruled by faith, the same world becomes obedient. The outer always arranges itself according to the tone of the inner. Every thought you hold, every word you speak, every feeling you entertain sends its vibration outward and organizes matter, opportunity, and even men into harmony or disarray. The weak believe that life happens to them. The wise know that life happens through them. You are not a leaf carried by the wind. You are the wind itself. If you do not like the direction of your world, change the direction of your thought. The one who commands himself commands fate. This law is as definite as gravity. The man who allows fear to dominate will find fear in every encounter. The one who cultivates peace attracts peace from all directions. The man who moves with confidence finds that doors open before he knocks. Others will call it luck, but it is law. The inner vibration of thought always precedes the outer event. Rockefeller understood this truth. When panic struck the markets and men lost fortunes overnight, he remained seated in his office, calm as stone. He would listen to the frantic noise around him, close his eyes, and think. His mind did not react, it directed. When others sold in fear, he bought in faith. His composure became his advantage. While others drowned in emotion, he navigated by reason. That was not chance, that was mastery. Mastery of circumstance begins with the mastery of reaction. The man who can delay his reaction controls his destiny. He observes rather than obeys. He studies rather than surrenders. Each delay between impulse and action is a moment of power. Emotion ungoverned acts rashly, but emotion under observation becomes energy for creation. The disciplined thinker no longer asks, "What will happen to me?" but "What can I cause to happen?" The question alone shifts him from victim to victor. The mind that directs instead of reacts is already in possession of dominion. This mastery expresses itself through three spheres: thought, speech, and action. The first sphere, thought, is the foundation. Thought is the architect of destiny, and every circumstance is a blueprint drawn in the mind before it appears in matter. When thought becomes calm, clear, and ordered, confusion dissolves. A man who can hold one idea with faith will see the world organize itself around that idea. The second sphere is speech. Words are the instruments of command. The careless speak idly and invite chaos. The wise speak deliberately and call order into being. Speak less, but when you speak, mean every word. The tongue of the calm man builds, the tongue of the anxious man destroys. Speak prosperity, and the subconscious mind obeys. Speak peace, and the nervous system aligns with it. Words are seeds. Plant only what you wish to reap. The third sphere is reaction, the silent test of all mastery. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can always control your response. When insulted, remain composed. When delayed, remain patient. When challenged, remain confident. Every controlled response adds power to your being. Every uncontrolled reaction drains it. The one who remains calm in adversity is already commanding it. Imagine walking through a storm with unshaken composure. Rain falls, winds roar, yet you walk as though guided by invisible protection. That image is not fantasy. It is a symbol of mental mastery. The storm does not cease because of your calmness. It simply loses its power to disturb. And when the storm finds no weakness to exploit, it passes. Practice this composure in daily affairs. When irritation arises, smile inwardly. When delays occur, turn inward to gratitude. When disappointment visits, thank it for its lesson. These small victories accumulate into unbreakable strength. You cannot control the weather, but you can control the climate of your mind. And in time, that inner climate alters the outer one. Do not mistake calmness for weakness. It is the highest form of strength. The lion who roars in panic wastes his energy. The one who waits, observing, chooses the perfect moment to strike. The man of composure does not lose time in reaction. He converts adversity into instruction and opposition into opportunity. Andrew Carnegie demonstrated this principle when competitors sought to ruin his operations. Instead of retaliating in haste, he studied them. He learned their methods, predicted their failures, and turned their attacks into advantages. He said, "The best defense is to outthink, not outshout." His calm mind became a fortress no enemy could penetrate. You too must build such a fortress, not made of stone or money, but of self-command. When you become immovable within, no force can overthrow you without. Circumstance bends to the one who remains firm in principle. The world respects the calm man. He may not be the loudest, but he is the one others look to when chaos reigns. People instinctively trust composure, for it signals knowledge of law. When you enter a room, carry silence as your authority. Let your demeanor speak before your mouth does. When you have mastered yourself, you will no longer need to convince anyone. Your presence will do it for you. This is the unseen advantage of mastery. It creates an atmosphere of command. Those around you sense it without understanding it. They defer to you naturally, not because of fear, but because order recognizes order. They feel at ease in your company because they are unconsciously drawn toward your rhythm. The man who has mastered himself becomes the anchor for others. In your climb back from defeat, this composure will be your greatest tool. It will guide negotiations, heal relationships, and attract opportunity. Where once you reacted impulsively, you will now act strategically. Where once you spoke defensively, you will now speak with measured certainty. This transformation will not go unnoticed. Those who once doubted you will begin to respect you. Those who once overlooked you will begin to seek you. You will learn to practice emotional economy, saving your energy for creation rather than complaint. Anger, gossip, worry, and self-pity are leaks in the reservoir of power. Seal them. Every ounce of energy saved from reaction becomes available for achievement. The man who does not waste energy on trivial emotion accumulates silent momentum that others mistake for luck. Begin each day with a brief silence. Sit quietly for a few minutes before the world makes its demands. Breathe deeply and declare, "Today, nothing outside me shall command me. I am master of thought, speech, and reaction." This daily decree fortifies the mind against the world's distractions. Understand that mastery is not a single event, it is a rhythm. You will fail at times. You will lose temper, feel doubt, or slip into old habits. That is not defeat, that is correction. Every return to self-control strengthens it. The more often you return, the shorter the distance back to calm. Soon the interval between disturbance and recovery becomes so brief that even you will marvel at your steadiness. Lincoln achieved such mastery through quiet reflection. When provoked by slander, he delayed response. When faced with crisis, he gathered counsel, but always reserved final thought for himself. He trusted the still voice within. That stillness guided a nation through division. It can guide you through any personal storm. Circumstance obeys confidence. The law of attraction is not mysticism. It is the natural gravitation of form toward focus. When your mind holds one definite purpose without wavering, the conditions to fulfill it must appear. Doubt scatters energy. Faith concentrates it. The more definite your thought, the more exact your results. Be deliberate in your associations. Every man you meet either contributes to or contaminates your rhythm. Surround yourself with those whose speech uplifts, whose presence inspires calm, whose actions mirror purpose. Avoid those who live by complaint. They are bankrupt in faith. As iron sharpens iron, so one disciplined mind strengthens another. When obstacles arise, and they will, meet them not with panic, but with planning. Say to yourself, this too is law in motion. Ask, what is this situation teaching me? What adjustment must I make? Treat adversity as a message from infinite intelligence, not a punishment. The man who interprets his trials correctly never suffers defeat. He gathers instruction. This mindset transforms work into wisdom. The task that once frustrated you now becomes meditation. The delay that once angered you now refines your patience. The setback that once crushed you now reveals a better path. The world has not changed. Your command of it has. Repeat often. Circumstance bends to my order. My calmness commands results. My reaction determines my outcome. Speak these words slowly, with breath and belief. Each repetition impresses discipline deeper into your subconscious. In time, your nervous system itself will obey these commands. As you master circumstance, pride may attempt to whisper that you have become superior. Reject it. True mastery is humble. The moment a man boasts of power, he has already lost it. The wise know that all power is borrowed from law. You are not the author of law. You are its obedient student. Power is sustained only by continued alignment. Remain grateful in your strength. Give thanks that you have learned order in a world of disorder. Use your calmness to lift others, not to lord over them. A word of steady encouragement to one who is struggling is a greater act of dominion than any conquest over circumstance. Remember this, your peace is proof of principle. It is the sign that you have entered harmony with infinite intelligence. That harmony attracts all else. Wealth, opportunity, relationships, all are drawn naturally to the man who radiates calm assurance. You need not chase them. They will find you. When you face your next test, and you will, remember Rockefeller, who sat quietly through market panic. Remember Lincoln, who endured slander with patience. Remember Edison, who smiled at failure. These men had learned the great secret, that mastery over self is mastery over all. And as you walk through life now, know this truth. The calm man leads not by command, but by example. His steadiness becomes the foundation upon which others build. He becomes a living demonstration of law. You have learned to command your thoughts, to guard your speech, to govern your reactions. You have become deliberate in association, patient in progress, and generous in understanding. The world around you now mirrors that growth. You are no longer moved by the storm. You move through it with grace. You have regained power over life, but there remains one more ascent, the final transformation of strength into legacy. For no man's mastery is complete until his peace uplifts others. No comeback is complete until the one who has risen becomes the reason another believes he can rise too. Let us move then from dominion to destiny, from personal mastery to the legacy of the comeback. There comes a moment when a man has climbed through struggle, endured through silence, mastered his thought, and steadied his world, and he stands at last in quiet triumph. Around him, life appears as it was before, the same streets, the same faces, the same tasks. Yet nothing is the same, for the man himself has changed. His vision has deepened, his heart has steadied, his mind has awakened. He has passed through defeat and discovered dominion. This is not the end of his journey. It is the beginning of his legacy. A true comeback does not end with recovery of fortune. It ends with the renewal of purpose. The riches gained through discipline are not meant to be hoarded, but transmitted. The wisdom forged in struggle is not for pride, but for service. The man who has risen from the depths holds within him the seed of a philosophy that can outlive his flesh. It is his sacred duty to plant that seed through thought, word, and example, that others may grow in its shade. Every great man of history who rose from failure left behind more than accomplishment. He left a principle. Ford built not only machines, but belief in efficiency and independence. Carnegie built not only steel, but opportunity through knowledge. Lincoln built not only unity, but faith in moral courage. Each turned personal struggle into a guiding philosophy that shaped generations after them. And so must you. The purpose of your rise was not your comfort, but your contribution. You were broken not for destruction, but for instruction, so that you might one day teach others to endure. The comeback you build is not for your applause, but for their awakening. The highest victory is to lift others by the light of your example. Every man leaves behind an atmosphere, a trail of thought, a spiritual inheritance that influences those who come after him. The disciplined mind leaves order. The drifting mind leaves confusion. The grateful man leaves faith. The bitter man leaves fear. Consider what your life will whisper when your voice is silent. Will your days echo with complaint, or will they resound with calm assurance that faith never fails? To build a lasting legacy, begin by recording your lessons. Each evening, write not the events of the day, but the principles discovered within them. Write what tested you, what steadied you, what strengthened